It's that time of the week. It is Friday, but not only that, another brand new episode from your favorite podcast in the whole entire world, and also from your favorite dynamic duo in the entire world and galaxy and space, everywhere.
Yes,
Eduardo and my boy Brett here back at you again from the virtual studio,
that's
custom
right.
built by my boy over here. No, wait, over here. So thanks to him, we got this lovely little space. And is the metaverse still a thing? That's the first question I should ask right off rip.
Dying off.
Is it,
Chat
no, right?
GPT took it over.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
think I could guess. Well, before we get into that, I want to slow my horses on this one, right?
Mhm.
Before we start every episode, I always want to be a gentleman and ask my boy, "How are you doing today, brother?"
Hey, double deuces.
Double deuce. I love the hat. Dirty hands, clean money.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
bar. That's right off rip. I need to give me something like that. I need to give me a shirt. I like that slogan, man.
It
You're
used to
wearing.
say, back in the day, it used to say clean hands, dirty money, but I changed my ways.
A good man. Respect it. Respect it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
man.
quit. I dropped out of political office.
Oh yeah. Well, if just a little catch up for people that are brand new to the podcast, welcome. If you're a first time viewer, welcome. Come on in, join the lovely crowd of people that we have been listening to us since day one. It's never too late, so welcome again. Brett actually once upon a time held the rank of his president of the HOA from many. I would say how long ago was it? Like about last year, 2 years ago.
I want to say, yeah, it's been less than a year that I finally hung up the political ties.
So this is why you have the ensemble, everything. He just doesn't give an F anymore, so he's just rolling with it now. So there you go.
Yeah,
He
but
retired
I
that.
kept the house. I kept the White House, so it's always going to be the White House.
I feel
No
like
one
it
could
was.
take that.
I feel like it was almost in a sense meant to be. I think before the fact, or is it after the fact? You found out that house you bought when you did that it was the White House, correct?
Yeah, I didn't know until like after we'd already signed the papers, and then that's when he informed me, hey, I'm the president. I was the president of that HOA, and they're gonna need a new one. And I didn't at all intend to be the president. In fact, I thought I was taking a very, very temporary role that lasted 3 years.
You're just too nice, man. I think
I,
that's one thing about Bray. He's just too nice. But then again, it's like he gets to the point where he's like, I gotta stop. I gotta stop being like that. So he just said, I'm out. I'm stepping down. Someone else can have this position, and I'll just live life. So
yep, it got to the point where I was suicidal. So, it was like nobody wanted to assassinate me. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll just do it myself.
just take myself out back.
It's
just
done. Done. Yeah, I just took the garden hose and put it in the car and parked it in the garage and let it rip. Too bad it was an electric car.
It's gonna be that type of episode. I can already feel the energy right now, man. So definitely buckle up. We like to get wild. And just a reminder, you're on this lovely podcast. We definitely like to dive into the most randomest topics that happen during the week, but overall that happen in just life in general. We go random on these topics. It could be something from cryptids, technology, science, and we got a little bit of everything on today's episode. Actually, it's actually going to be a pretty good one. But I think you were going to say something, brother.
Go ahead. I do. And before we go on, I just want to give you some props. I want to throw you, that we already have this in the collection, right?
Oh, for sure. Almost dead, dude. If anybody wants to recap that, we definitely recorded an episode. We actually gave an honest review about the limited edition Death Row wine by Snoop Dogg, D-O-double-G. Shout out Uncle Snoop. And we give our full review. Go check that out. It's in our archives. You can catch it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just make streaming platforms. You can find us there. Be Honest with This podcast. So check that out.
So with that said, I have a new one to the collection right next to it.
Oh, wow.
This one, the big homie, Jimmy Holly.
Jimbo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to Mexico, and he ended up, and apparently I barely got this bottle. Apparently he was with somebody who wanted to crack this bottle open, and he kind of had to like tell him,
simmer,
hey,
that's it, tone it down. Yeah,
like this is for, he calls me Hollywood. He said, this is for Hollywood. So Jimmy, props to you for that. I told him we're going to crack this bottle open, but you, my man, when you come up to the lovely White House we have here,
sure.
We'll get that cracking open.
Oh, dude.
It's like a tequila mixed with coffee liqueur.
So they do have that. I remember once upon a time, one of my cousins actually had a Patron bottle mixed with coffee. I never tried it, but there's different mixes like that that they sell with tequilas mixed with coffee, of course, and some other stuff. So I never tried it. So I'm kind of curious to see how it tastes. I mean, has he said anything about it? Has he tasted it?
Like, I did. While he was over there? We definitely, he had a bottle that we cracked open, and it's definitely a dessert. It's one of those things that'll sneak up on you, right? Like,
really,
you're doing like 1 or 2 shots, you'll be fine. 3, 4, 5, it's gonna sneak up on you.
Okay.
So, I'm waiting to blow your mind.
Oh, dude, I know. I mean,
bring you up
tequila just alone. It's one of those ones too, right? I think I can recount the little trip that I had not too long ago in Vegas when we had tequila sunrise. Tasted really good, but dude, I think a full one, it had like 3 shots, and I was already smashed, I think, by the end of it. Not smashed all the way, but I definitely was feeling it. So I can definitely vouch that and say that it'll creep up on you, right? If something tastes pretty good, you just don't know that behind that the tequila's trailing, and then it's going to sneak up on you. So I could definitely say I feel that on that one. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. That's what's up. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So today, of course, we have quite a few things on the agenda, and I just don't know where to start, brother. I mean, what do you think? How should we go about this? I mean, we can talk about orcas learning how to tip boats over. We can talk about intelligent fungus that has a brain of its own, where we can seemingly think to ourselves. We see fungus, we just think of it as worthless, nothing whatsoever. It's just a thing, right? But no, it's far more than that. And we can get into that as well. But brother, I'll let you take the steering wheel on this. Where would you want to go? I'll let you pick, man.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we were talking a little bit earlier. I think we should have a whale of a time.
Oh, okay. Let's get to it. Okay, so this one, it made me laugh once I saw the title, because this comes to orcas, right? And obviously people are pretty aware that some of these are hunted down by, or they're poachers, right? They get poached. And unfortunately, they get killed. And I think, is this safe to say that are they on the endangered species list, or are they close to being on there?
There's not a lot left.
Okay,
not a lot left.
So definitely, they've been hunted for many years, correct? But as of late, something pretty interesting has been happening. I think this is a big middle finger to us humans, and they're catching on. Like, yo, we need to assemble the crew, and we need to teach these folks a lesson. And they don't call us Killaz for nothing.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let's buckle up, people. This is the segment that we love to do here on this lovely podcast. So here we go. The title of this article is called "Orcas Have Sunk 3 Boats in Europe and Appear to Be Teaching Others to Do the Same." The question is, why? Here we go. Scientists think that traumatized orca initiated the assault on boats after a, quote, critical moment of agony, and that behavior is spreading among the population through social learning. Orcas have attacked and sunk a 3rd boat off the Iberian coast of Europe, and experts now believe that behavior is being copied by the rest of the population. 3 orcas, also known as killer whales, struck the yacht on the night of May 4th, or May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes, exactly. Damn, great coincidence. I think not.
I think not.
In the Strait of Gibraltar. I'm butchering these words. I'm sorry, people. If you can already tell,
along with you,
don't know how to read. Off the coast of Spain and pierced the rudder. There are 2 smaller and 1 larger orca. Skipper Werner Schaufelberger told the German publication Yacht. The little one shook the rudder at the back, while the big one repeatedly backed up and rammed the ship with full force from the side. Schaufelberger said he saw the smaller orcas imitate the larger one. The 2 little orcas observed the bigger one's technique, and with a slight run-up, they too slammed into the boat. Spanish Coast Guards rescued the crew and towed the boat to Barbay, and it sank at the port entrance. Oh, yeah, imagine you're a wealthy. This guy must be a wealthy dude. I mean, he probably buy another yacht, but just to think that you spend quite a grip of money on this lovely yacht, and you're thinking like, oh, killer whales, right?
Yeah.
But before you know it, these things start smashing and running into you. I'm afraid of the ocean. I've said it before many times on this podcast. I am terrified of the ocean. To think these massive things, I mean, they say it's a little one and a bigger one, but to see that firsthand, I would be shitting bricks. I'm just going to say that straightforward, because these things, obviously they look like they're friendly, this and that, right? They're perceived a certain way. But like I said, they don't call them killer whales for nothing. That's just, people got to remember that. So I'd be freaking out at this point, but that's crazy.
I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Right, exactly. That's a $2 bar. That fits perfectly for this scenario. So again, 2 days earlier, a pod of 6 orcas assailed another sailboat navigating the strait. Greg Blackburn, who was aboard the vessel, looked on as a mother orca appeared to teach her calf how to charge into the rudder. It was definitely some form of education teaching going on, Blackburn told Nine News. Reports of aggressive encounters with orcas off the Iberian coast began in May 2020 and are becoming more frequent, according to a study published June 2022 in a journal Marine Mammal Science. Assaults seem to be mainly directed at sailing boats and follow a clear pattern, with orcas approaching from the stern to strike the rudder, then losing interest once they have successfully stopped the boat. The reports of interactions have been continuous since 2020 in places where orcas are found, either in Galicia, or in the Strait. Said co-author Alfredo Lopez Fernandez, a biologist at the University of Aveiro in Portugal and a representative of the Grupo de Trabajo Orca Atlántica, or Atlantic Orca Working Group. Most encounters have been harmless, Lopez Fernandez told Life Science in an email. In more than 500 interaction events recorded since 2020, there are 3 sunken ships. We estimate that killer whales only touch 1 ship out of every 100 that sail through a location. The spike in aggression towards boats in a recent phenomenon, Lopez Fernandez said, researchers think that the traumatic event may have triggered a change in the behavior of one orca, which the rest of the population has learned to imitate. The orcas are doing this on purpose. Of course, we don't know the origin or motivation, but defensive behavior based on trauma as an origin of all this gains more strength for us every day, Lopez Fernandez said. Experts suspect the female orca they call White Gladys suffered a critical moment of agony, a collision with a boat or entrapment during illegal fishing, of course, that flipped a behavioral switch. The traumatized orca is the one that started this behavior of physical contact with the boat, Lopez Fernandez said. Orcas are special creatures that can easily learn and reproduce behaviors performed by others, according to the 2022 study. In a majority of reported cases, orcas have made a beeline for a boat's rudder and either bent, or broken it.
Yeah.
Holy moly, dude. So they're learning and they're saying, screw these guys. They've been hunting us for too long. They've killed too many of our friends, family, ancestors, you name it. We're just trying to pack up and really do something about this.
It could be that, but here's my theory.
All right, let's hear it.
Eat the rich.
Either
I think they're just targeting rich people. You know,
your yachts. We'll leave the little boats alone, but the yachts with these mega things, nah, we're going.
Y'all got too much money. Off with your rudder, you greedy mother.
Oh my god! I will say this is very interesting though, because it's like, obviously it said it's from trauma, right? Thinking that maybe one of these things got hit by one, and now they're saying, no, you're not going to push us around. This is our territory, and we can easily gather a bunch of us and go after you. Right. And I mean, dude, I would want to see. I would want to see a video of this happening as it happens.
I'd love to really just sunk.
Oh, it would be. I think it would be the one of the sweetest memes and just one of the sickest gifts, because it's all about gifts and memes nowadays. I think that's how people like communicate as well, because we always send memes towards each other, and it's like, oh yeah, I know what you're thinking. You know, I feel like this for this.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I couldn't. It really. I was very fascinated by this thing, because they are very smart animals. I mean, it's very small. Very smart fish, or whales, right? It doesn't blow my mind. Like, it does surprise me, but it doesn't, like, I guess, go far beyond the realms of impossible. See what I'm saying? Because also, didn't it say like dolphins and whales are almost like, I think they're in the same, almost the same as intelligence scale as one another, correct?
Could be. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a marine biologist.
You're talking way out of my zone on that one.
I'm a mammal that lives on Lannel.
But yeah, people, there you have it. Be careful. If you have a yacht and you're in their territory, and you know one of these things has, I guess you could say, battle scars or trauma built up, you best believe these things.
You wish you saw.
Yeah. They will ram into you and they will sink that yacht. So just peep game.
I love it. I love it. I mean, because, from everything from that story that, I read along with you, it looked like they were just targeting the rich, just like, you see that yacht,
Watch Bezos. If it goes after Bezos' yacht, by all means, I'm all for it. I'm like, go ahead,
dude,
do it.
Get all of the orcas in. And then, and then all of a sudden it's just this thing where people know not to go in the ocean anymore with their yachts. They're going to have like land yachts.
Right. Just get a mega RV or whatever could be next on the line. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy, man. There you go. So orcas are finally just smartening up even more, attacking these yachts. and they're not ones to be messed with, like NWA was back in the day. So yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, the Wu-Tang Killer Whales.
Killers. Okay, man. Do you want to start off with one of yours? You had something too on deck as well. Do you want to go play for tick for tat, or do you want me to keep on rolling with this steamroll?
Well, I mean, yeah, we can volley here.
Okay.
Um, so big news this week. Big news. There was
Big
a
news.
big identity reveal
Okay.
on the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer has been um 50 years been unknown, right? He 50 years ago was killing, women left and right. There were six that he supposedly confessed to, but like a total of like 35 or 32 murders that took place, and
Damn.
all in the San Francisco Riverside area, California.
Okay.
So, and then over the years, there have been things that have come out saying, hey, we think we know who he is. And the FBI would say, no, we don't know. Well, anyway, so then all of a sudden, there's a task force of 40 retired lawmen from the FBI that call themselves the Case Breaker, and they are famed for solving cold cases. And so then they got involved with this one, and somehow, some way, they figured out that the Zodiac Killer has been identified as Gary Francis Post, who was 80. How old was he? He was 80 years old when he died in 2018.
Okay.
So he never actually got caught for any of his crimes. And so um, so it says he murdered at least 5 known victims in San Francisco Bay Area and claimed to have slain a total of 37 people. The madman taunted police and the public by sending a series of letters and encoded messages to newspapers during his reign of terror, but he was never caught. In the latest twist, the case breakers have linked Post to 18-year-old college co-ed Sherry Joe Bates, who was stabbed to death on October 30th, 1966 in Riverside. And a 1975 memo from the FBI revealed the Zodiac Killer acknowledged that he had indeed been responsible for the Riverside killing. So that's the connection. Now,
Okay.
according to Colbert, who is the head of the Case Breakers, Case Breakers has been hoping the Riverside police could match hair, skin, and blood found under Sherry Joe's fingernails to DNA collected from Post, who died in August of 2018. But the spokesman, the Riverside Police Department, are refuting Colbert's findings, and they're saying if we really had information that the Zodiac Killer was related to Sherry Joe Bates, we would not hide that. We're not going to hide information, especially 55 years later. Also surprising are Colbert's claims that Post gave away an evidentiary gold mine just a few years before his death. Old associates of the house painter slash alleged serial killer claimed that a few years prior to Post 2018 death at 80 years old, he had quietly given away his weapons, pistol parts, gunpowder, bullets, and shell casings, more than 1,000, involving 25 different calibers, to his favorite locals. And most of these particular gifts have remained in basements and closets untouched ever since. So
Interesting.
so all of that could be potentially evidence that could be further tested by the FBI and linked to what's his name, Gary Francis Post. So it could be linked to him, but it looks like that the Riverside police, are causing some resistance there. And also in another article, it reads, "He did it. Relative of man identified as Zodiac Killer says 100% believes he committed murders." And this comes from a former daughter-in-law who asked to be only identified as Michelle, exclusively told RadarOnline.com that she absolutely 100% believes Gary was the Zodiac killer. He was entirely capable of those murders. There was something deeply wrong with him, she told the outlet. He was twisted, sadistic, and very, very secretive. He didn't like to go out anywhere. He went to work, and that was it. And so, yeah, just talking about, so, even people close to him, even like it almost wasn't a shock. And then, another article, this is just going into the fact that the headline says Air Force vet identified as Zodiac. Yeah, this Gary Francis Post, he was an Air Force vet as well.
Wow.
That ended up being a painter and then ended up, slaying along
literally.
the way.
Holy moly.
Yeah, Air Force vet identified as Zodiac killer suspect, but FBI didn't act on DNA proof, group claims the case breakers. So what they're saying is this guy was also a felon. So it says the felon had been secretly listed as the Zodiac suspect in headquarters computer since 2016. The group wrote in a press release, with his partial DNA safely secure at the Fed's Quantico, Virginia lab. The FBI has consistently rejected reports and conclusions that the case has been solved and told Fox News Digital in October 2021 that the case was still open. But apparently, there was a whistleblower, that came out and said, no, the FBI has identified this guy. And then, but anyway, so then, Case Breakers believes that they have tied posts to each of the murders, and the team hopes that law enforcement agencies will compare the DNA they found on a hiking mat with Sherry Jo Bates. And so anyway, it says we 100% believe that Sherry Jo Bates is not affiliated with the Zodiac case, Riverside Police Officer Ryan Railsback told Fox News Digital in October 2021. Nothing has changed on that. So now that's what the issue is the cops are saying, no, this has nothing to do with it, even though the FBI in 1975 memo said that she did. So I almost think that it would be worth at this point looking at the DNA at least. So anyway, so big breakthrough. The guy, Gary Francis Post, appears to be the identity of the notorious Zodiac killer.
That's insane. Yeah, and this case has been pretty, I would say, out there in regards of it's really known amongst the people. And I remember they made a movie about it, didn't they? Zodiac.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen it, but I know it was a movie that they made out of that. And
he's just because he kept taunting people, you know, he kept like writing all these letters and these coded messages. And, and it was just like scaring, terrifying the communities.
Dude, that was a crazy when he would wear like a mask over himself, leather gloves, and he wouldn't really leave any trace. I mean, he was obviously thinking 2 steps ahead and really trying to prevent himself from getting caught from doing that stuff. But yeah, man, he did slay a lot of people. And for a long time up until now, from what it seems, they finally, have the identity of the person that did it. And I remember a few years back that there's a couple of people that came out trying to say that they were. And there was one I remember of this one gentleman who at the time said his father was, because he found like this old VCR player and then he pulls it out. And it had like these notes, like the writing similar to what the Zodiac killer would leave the police, and like this glove and the infamous mask. But I never knew what came of that one. And then there was this other one where this other lady was saying that it was her uncle that did it, and she was all crying, talking about how I know it was him. He confessed to me and told me that he was the one that killed all those people back, when that was going on. I mean, so you've had a lot of people trying to come out and say, take I guess take the helm of saying that they were the notorious Zodiac killer. But I mean, hey, they got the evidence right here. So from what it seems, so we can definitely put that case to rest. But I've always wondered, why is it that a lot of times when prominent cases like this, like even the Tupac and Biggie case, right, they felt like they had a lot of leads and they could have closed those cases like that. But it just seems like there's so many strings like just left loose and never really gone anywhere from there, you know? So the same thing with this one. I feel like they have the hardcore evidence in front of them, but it's kind of like, where do you go from here? You know, because it's happened so long ago. But I feel like those families deserve closing too, to know, hey, you know, this is what happened. And we finally want to say case closed, but I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I mean, it's crazy how, with all the science that we have, how
Mm-hmm.
people can still get away with murder. And there's unsolved
Mm-hmm.
murders every single day that passes. There's
Yeah,
another unsolved
man.
murder, and, those cold cases, the file just keeps growing,
Yeah, there's a
but
lot of them, man.
yep. But the cool thing is like people like the, what are they called? The case breakers.
Yeah.
Um, you know these are people who, because the law enforcement, like the FBI, police departments, they only have so many resources. So if you're working on a case, and you're just not getting any leads, eventually, like there's so many other cases piling up, eventually you just got to hang your hat up and focus on cases where there is perhaps more evidence or
Yeah, for
something more
sure.
immediate. So a lot of cases unfortunately go cold. So the cool thing with this group is they come in and there's just, they have all the experience and expertise and the know-how, and the dedication. There's something about the hunt that drives them, and here they are. They're just volunteers, and 40 of them, and they're going out in the country solving cold cases. That's amazing.
No, that's kudos to them, and I think that's a very awesome thing. It almost reminds me of this gentleman that I was listening to on this pod. That he's one of the top hackers in the United States, but what he's doing, he's shutting a lot of these chat rooms that a lot of I would want to say a lot of pedophiles are on and communicating in code. And he shut down two major ones. And this gentleman's out from Florida, but he's created a group of people where he'll lure a bunch of these people out and catch them in the act and have them registered like, hey, watch out for so and so. We have video evidence that they're doing this type of stuff. We have the evidence here that he's talking to, they're portraying like a 12 or even like a 10-year-old little girl or boy, whatever. And they have the evidence right there in front of them. But he's saying he's trying to do good because a lot of the stuff he's learned from him hacking and all that, he felt like he needed to put that to good use. And that's what he has now. He's created a space to where they're going after these type of people. And I mean, he's doing the work, man. So it's like stuff like that, a lot of people are stepping up to the plate, which I definitely salute, that are trying to do good in society now, which definitely we need a lot of, so
Funny that you mentioned that podcast, because Kat that I work with, he was listening to that same very podcast, and he was just going into details about the stuff going on there, and oh god,
dude,
and I'm
yeah,
just like,
it's bad, man.
it's a
It's
sick,
pretty
sick
bad,
world.
dude. Yeah, but I mean, again, like he's just trying to do good. He said, and like I said, it's really, it's almost rare you find people like that are trying to take, you know, whatever they're good at and apply it to do something to help other people.
Yeah,
So I think that's an awesome thing
but
you're doing. But that's awesome too that those gentlemen too, the 40 people are trying to solve these cold cases as well. Because like I said, I
yeah,
think
man.
everything deserves closing. And in time, I think now, especially with social media too, and everybody having phones and just being more aware of what's going on when it comes to just like murder cases like that, I think a majority of people want to do good, and if they see something or someone or they leave tips or call in for tips just like to let them know, hey, I might have seen the person that came across like that one show, right?
Yeah,
I forgot that one infamous show that where if you've seen this person, please call,
America's
or
Most Wanted.
yeah, something like that. And I
John
feel like that
Walsh.
show's helped out a lot too as well from what I've seen. So
Big.
yeah, it's a good thing, definitely a good thing. Very interesting though. So hopefully we can definitely put a close into that and push
America's
forward.
Most Wanted. You said that. Remember Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Yes, sir.
He was on that show.
Oh, he was?
Not as the criminal.
I
He
was saying,
was the
what did he
victim.
do?
He got kidnapped.
No, really?
Yeah. He was kidnapped. He was taken by um some relative or whatever, and I think he was taken to like an Indian reservation
What the
and
hell?
hidden out there in Ohio. And anyway, someone finally spotted him, recognized him from the show, and called him in. So yeah.
That's crazy. I'm not laughing because it's funny, but it's like I never knew that. When did this happen? Was this like I'm assuming this was years ago, right?
Well, when he was a kid.
When he was a kid. Oh, when he was a kid.
It would
Okay,
have been
okay.
in the like the 80s,
Early 80s,
like
yeah.
the 80s.
Okay, okay. Interesting. Wow. Ugh. Well, good thing, it didn't hinder from the infamous Bone Thugs and Harmony group from happening, or else it wouldn't have been Bone Thugs and Harmony without Busy Bone, straight up. So
Well, I think that situation though, that kidnapping, I think that left a very, it was a very traumatic experience for him.
for sure.
He has wrestled with alcohol and drug abuse his entire life, and I think a lot of that stems from that. Like he was talking about how he couldn't register with any schools. He couldn't go to schools. He had to always hide. He could never show himself out there. And so he was just always hiding. He was always hungry, and who knows what kind of abuse he was going through. So this was very traumatizing for him, and it had lasting effects, unfortunately, with chemical substance abuse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him, man. I mean, damn, that would be a traumatic event to go through, especially a relative.
Yeah.
No bueno, man. No bueno. But that's good. So more of the story, Zodiac Killer. They already have their number one suspect, and hopefully, like I said, it comes to a closing and we go to the next case, man.
Yeah,
hopefully.
yeah. Just connect that data, connect that DNA, baby. Riverside, stop C blocking.
Stop C blocking. C blocking. Amen. Amen. All right. Next on the agenda, fungus. I mean, we could see this. Where would we find fungus, Brett? I mean, I'm kind of fogged up in the
cow
pie.
Right
in a cow pie. There we go.
The magic mushroom.
So fungus. Probably don't think nothing of it. Probably just say, it's whatever, nothing big, right? Nothing big. But what if I told you they're much more intelligent than what we think? And we're going to share a little something with you today here on this Beyond Expectation podcast. Let's take a trip. Gardeners sometimes encounter them in their backyards. Spongy yellow masses squatting in the dirt or slowly swallowing wood chips. Hackers often spot them clinging to the sides of rotting logs like spilled bowls of extra cheese macaroni. In Mexico, some people reportedly scrape their tender bodies from trees and rocks and scramble them like eggs. Interesting. I've probably heard of that. I believe that for sure. They are slime.
Had some on pizza.
Oh yeah, I do like them on my pizza. That's true. Yeah. Amen. Supreme baby. They are slime. Right. They are slime molds. Glitneous and amoeba that have little. Is it amoeba?
Amoeba.
Okay, amoeba that have little to do with the kinds of fungal mold that ruin sourdough and pumpernickel. Biologists currently classify slime molds as protists and taxonomic groups reserved for everything we don't understand, says Chris Reed of University of Sydney. Something scientists have come to understand is that slime molds are often smarter than they look. One species in particular is the SpongeBob SquarePants yellow Phaserum paulocephalum. That's crazy. And I had to Google that how you what is it pronounced that? Because I was like, I don't want to butcher this on the podcast.
That I did my Googles. I was impressed with your Spanish on the last one too, though, but there's probably a reason for that.
So can solve mazes, mimic the layout of man-made transportation networks, and choose the healthiest food from the diverse menu. And all this without a brain or nervous system. Slime molds are redefining what you need to have to qualify as intelligent, Reed says. Yes. In the wild, P. polycephalum rummages through leaf litter and oozes along logs searching for the bacteria, fungal spores, and other microbes that it envelops and digests, a la Amorphous alien in the 1958 horror film The Blob. Although P. polycephalum often acts like a colony of cooperative individuals foraging together, it in fact spends most of its life as a single cell containing millions of nuclei, small sacks of DNA, enzymes, and proteins. This one cell is a master shapeshifter. Polycephalum takes on different appearances depending on where and how it is growing. In the forest, it might fatten itself into giant yellow globs and remain as unassuming as a smear of mustard on the underside of a leaf. In the lab, confined in a petri dish, it usually spreads itself thin across agar, branching like coral. Biologists first brought the slime mold into the lab more than 3 decades ago to study the way it moves, which has a lot in common with the way muscles work on a molecular level, and to examine the way it reattaches itself when split. In the earliest research, no one thought it could make choices or behave in seemingly intelligent ways, Reed explains. That thinking has completely changed. In the early 2000s, Toshiyuki Nagakaki then at the Hokkaido University in Japan, and his colleagues chopped it up a single polycephalum and scattered the pieces throughout a plastic maze. The smidgens of slime mold began to grow and find one another, burgeoning to fill the entire labyrinth. Nagakake and his teammates placed blocks of agar packed with nutrients at the start and end of the maze. 4 hours later, the slime mold had retracted its branches, formed dead-end corridors, growing exclusively along the shortest path possible between the two pieces of food. Wow. This past October, Reed and his colleagues published a study revealing that the way the slime mold navigates its environment is more sophisticated than previously realized. As polycephalum moves through a maze and crawls along the forest floor, it leaves behind a trail of translucent slime. Reed and his teammates noticed that a foraging slime mold avoids sticky areas where it has already traveled. This extracellular slime, Reed reasoned, is a kind of externalized spatial memory that reminds polycephalum to explore somewhere new. And then also they talk about how they did this. So this is the trippiest part of it all. It's not in this article, but just alone, it's crazy to think that it has no nervous system and no, it pretty much doesn't have a brain, correct? That's kind of how what I'm understanding.
Saying, yeah.
But they're able to reattach themselves and find the shortest path to reattach themselves when spread apart. Here's the kicker. That Japanese scientist or a group of Japanese scientists actually took apart two pieces and they put it on almost like a 3D dimensional map of some, I think I want to say subway stations or just subway stations.
Okay.
These things mimicked it, but not only that, they made a more sufficient way of traveling, like a better way than what they originally had planned from whatever engineering.
No way.
I swear, when I read that, I'm like, oh, like, dude, like, how do you make sense of that, right? It blows my mind that this thing does not have anything whatsoever to think that it has a brain, but to even, like, how can it do that? Not only to mimic it, but to create something that's, hey, we can create something better. Here it is.
Yeah. Maybe they're the ones that built the pyramids.
You just blew. What if?
We think we're so smart. We think we're so smart. And look at that.
Oh my, what if? I mean, then again, it's like, the question would be, would fungus be able to build up in Egypt knowing that their heat is, their temperatures, right, are far more.
Maybe not. I'm just, I was just making jokes.
No, right? But I mean, what if something on that level though, right? But what if temperatures back then were far more different than it is now?
Well, there's that. And then, but also humans, the amount of, we think so highly of ourselves,
if we top of the food chain,
humble ourselves down a little bit, maybe we'd be a little bit smarter. But I think that, our ego and our hubris actually prevent us from being smarter than what we are. And I think a lot of that has to do with greed and money and power and control, but so be it. So these amoebas or these fungus, they don't have to deal with all that. And they're just like, yo, here's the easy way. Easy way? I got you. Are they edible by the chance?
It doesn't say anything about them being edible.
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna say make me smarter.
I want some on my pizza.
What if? Okay, just saying. This could be on the realm of conspiracy or just thinking out loud. Or what if? Check this out. What if they could somehow implement it in somebody's brain, and somehow it reconnects like all the nerves in the brain, even like digging into where it opens everything. Like you say, we only use give me the percentage again.
1%, 1 to 3% of our brain.
What if this thing reconnects everything to where it just engages? There you go. Boom, turns it on. 100% of your brain.
Dude. What if that's the missing link between us being humans and gray aliens?
Oh, dude. Anything could happen. If I didn't know about this intelligent fungus, what makes me believe that none of that, could be in the realm of just somewhat of a possibility? We never know that. Has anybody done it? I think not. Right?
Nope. Yeah, I think that's amazing. and then they could merge it in with Elon Musk's new robots that he's making. Have
Oh,
you seen
dude, I know,
those?
right? I know, especially like what is it? A Neuralink? Put a little bit of that fungus in there.
Neuralink with a little bit
Dude,
of fungus juice.
AI with a little bit of fungus juice.
Yeah.
Game over. I
Yeah,
would
dude.
say game over at that point. We are done. Humans are fucking two on the list,
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Yeah,
Like
that
you have these
AI is
AI
our new
fungus,
god.
dude. Oh man, it's game over.
Did
It's
you
game over.
did you hear that theory that people are floating out there that Elon Musk only bought Twitter for all of it, the user information, user data, so that he could use that for his AI system?
I did hear something about that. I could have sworn I sent you maybe an article or a tweet about that, but I don't recall. But I have heard about. Yes, yes. I mean,
Is that 5D chess or not?
oh
If he
man,
did that, that is seriously massive cheddar for one, but 5D chess on another hand.
I think to him it's like we talk about thinking 2 steps ahead. Mr. Musk is like 10 steps ahead, dude. He's definitely using it to some advantage, or just I don't know, man. I mean,
He's like the human version of that fungus,
oh, dude.
the
I mean, he's
intelligent fungus.
like, yeah, he's the what if fungus was the one that actually, somehow like they were like the first evolutionary step. He's like the third step up the freaking of
What
the
if
stair ladder or whatever.
what if this fungus was just one of Elon Musk's turds?
What if? What if? Maybe he went somewhere in the woods over there in Japan when he visited and said,
Yeah.
you know what? Nobody's looking. I need to go. Boom, done.
Let's pop
And
a
somehow,
squat.
there we go. Sprouted these little, I don't know, the polycephalum. So
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows? But yeah,
Anything.
brother. I mean, I think it's insane. It's again, it never seems to fail that I find something that really blows my mind. I want to add another thing aside from fungus overall. I was actually learning a little bit about black holes. Black holes meaning in the galaxy, people.
Okay. Sorry.
So no, talking about the galaxy black holes. Now, I learned that they're not all the same. That they are far different from each other. And obviously, if people don't know, and again, I wanna see maybe if I'm on the right path here. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Brett. You're my walking Google. You know a lot of knowledge that I don't know. I don't
I'm
possess.
not an expert in the black holes you're talking about.
Oh yeah, you're definitely an expert in that realm, my friend. But black holes, so they are stars that pretty much exploded, correct?
So what after supernova takes
Yes.
place, then they
Then it's
become a
super
black hole?
Okay.
Okay.
So there's a theory that Einstein had. Now, I want to see if I understood this correct, so I can relay this to the masses and tell everybody here that's listening to this lovely podcast. There's a theory that, for one, if a human were to ever float into one of them, right? The theory is that they would get completely just vaporized. You would literally go in and then you would just pretty much vanish into thin
I
air
thought it was
or
like
whatever.
we'd be crushed, like crushed into the smallest.
To the smallest atom, like nothing.
Yeah.
You're pretty much be nothing. That's pretty much
Yeah.
what I was trying to say.
Yep,
I butchered
yep.
that. You're right. You're right. But there's Einstein had a theory that's saying that if you were to go through it, it's kind of like a tunnel or a gateway to a different part of the galaxy.
Okay.
But here's the strange thing too. They've noticed that they just recently located one of the furthest black holes we've ever seen so far. That's I think 1,200 light years away. But the mind-blowing thing here is they suck whatever is going, like whatever's in their way, it'll go through it, and that's it. Where it goes, we don't know.
Yeah.
And the mind-blowing thing about this, I want to say it's the scary thing about this, and it's like there's a lot of them that are within close, like we're this lovely planet we're in.
When you come across it, like, is there any warning? Can you see a black hole?
No, nothing. I mean, that's the scary thing about it. Like, how do you say, how is it that obviously it's like a thing where I don't think they're putting too much, I guess, how would you say, concentrating too much on that as being a world level threat.
Okay.
But I mean, it's one of those things that's just floating out there that we don't know what would happen if that thing took freaking Earth and just, whoop, here we go. Where we go, nobody knows.
Yeah. It's like the what do you call it? Outer space cookie monster.
Oh yeah, we're just a lovely, delicious cookie out of grandma's oven, just waiting to be eaten, man. And that's the thing. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
Did Star Trek ever do any episodes on black holes? Do you know?
I never was a Trekkie, man. I don't recall. And even in movies, I don't think I recall. I don't recall anybody mentioning like black holes or anything like that. What they only mention is like there's multiple galaxies, multiple planets, and yeah, I mean that's really it.
I've seen like stuff on portals, but they've never actually associated it with a black hole. But anyway, so what are we talking about with black holes right now?
Oh no, it's just one of those things where, like I said, science never seems to fail me in regards to this. But it really kind of threw me for a loop when when they were talking about how there's different versions of them. They're not all the same. There's theories on what would happen if a human floats into one, or if someone were to get sucked into one. I mean, it's the complete unknown, nothing whatsoever. Yep. And of course, there was like somebody posted an audio sound supposedly how a black hole sounds.
Yes,
I'll tell you what, it's not the most enjoyable sound. Eerie. It's eerie. The unknown is scary to me. That's just all I got to say about that. Dude, but yeah, it's something interesting that I had to throw out there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because okay, so you talk about the ocean being what scares you.
Yes.
If I were to have a fear in the world, it is actually outer space, going beyond Earth. And I know that, Elon Musk has this plan to go to Mars. I'm sorry, but that scares me to death because like there's literally no chance of survival if anything whatsoever goes wrong. And I know you can say the same thing with airplanes that fly or whatever, but it's different because airplanes have a track record. These spaceships going from Earth to Mars, it's not nearly
there's no track record.
Yeah, I mean, and that anything could happen, right? It could be a solar flare storm. It could be
meteorites, anything,
right?
Yep.
And you're gone forever, right? And then all of a sudden you're floating, and you're just waiting to die, right? Now you're just floating off into space. And, but then all of a sudden, oh no, I'm not dead yet. And there's a black hole right in front of me. And then you feel your body just getting crushed. I mean, that's the worst for me. That's the worst.
So yeah, definitely. We don't see the White Rhino ever volunteering for anybody to go travel to the moon or Mars or wherever, until they probably perfected it and be like, all right, success rate is 99.9%.
The highest I ever go besides an airplane is on a weekend.
It starts on a Friday and it starts after 2:00. That's the highest.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's my religion. From sundown on Friday until sunrise on Sunday, I'm staying high as a kite.
There we go. That's as far as you're gonna get to the to the Milky Way and to the stars and to the galaxy, my friend. Amen, man. Amen.
Yep, my third eye stays open all weekend.
But more of the story, fungus, it's intelligent, it's far more superior than what we think. And who knows? This could be the evolutionary start of it. I mean, we don't know. Could this evolve down the road to become something where it could reattach itself to an animal or something? Actually, that movie that they referred to, that was an actual movie where I think it attaches itself to a human and it morphs like the human's body and it becomes like this creature, like this venom. Monster. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
wow,
I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do some kind of experiment like that.
So, like, what if it had something to do with evolution, right? Like,
that's what I'm saying. What if? That is
pretty amazing.
Let's just throw it out there. What if that was the evolutionary state of humans? I'm just saying. What if? Right? This is a strong one. Like, and it just started off like that, and it just made monkeys intelligent, and boom, there we go, evolutionary state. Something to sit on. Sure. Some of the little nuggets to throw on. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Yeah,
that's beyond expectation.
Oh, definitely beyond expectation, man. Hence. Yours truly. So, brother. Oh, dude.
That's our air horn.
I was gonna say you're gonna start blowing the horn, but you're gonna play with those rocks that they have. What are those things? Those rocks where they rub the rocks or the inner side of those bowls?
I don't know. Oh,
you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're supposed to like soothe the soul. I mean, I've seen them before, YouTube and all that. I don't know too much about them. I don't know the proper name, but yes, they remind me of that where they do that noise and then they rub the bowls.
Zen, meditation rocks or something. No, that was my black hole sound.
Oh, I definitely want to do that black hole instead of the other one, man. The other one sounds more eerie. This one sounds more like a call home. Like, all right, it's time to come home. It's time to land down.
Yeah.
Come back.
Okay.
Come back.
All right. Yeah.
So you were telling me, this will probably take us on to the ending of this lovely episode, but you were telling me that JFK, who is he?
Yeah,
JFK.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Okay, Junior. Okay, okay.
So
So tell
yes,
us a
so
little about.
he's if people don't know, we have an election coming up in 2024, and Joe Biden doesn't happen to be the most popular president we've ever seen in this country. In fact, could be one of the most disliked presidents. He has very low ratings. What do you call that? Low ratings.
The ratings, yeah.
Low approval ratings. Thank you. And and it's almost like he's sparring with Trump, because I know Trump had pretty low approval ratings as well. Not by me, but
not by me.
but Robert F. Kennedy. So people know the history of these Kennedys. They've had a very weird relationship with the CIA. Basically, JFK, back before he was assassinated in, what was it, 1963 in Dallas, he had, I guess, a couple weeks prior talked about wanting to dismantle the CIA. Because the CIA is the one government agency that there's no accountability whatsoever. They're beyond accountability. So they can pretty much do whatever they want, whenever they want, with whatever money they can get. So they're like, they've always been dirty, because ever since the 60s, they have done their secret stuff. They can go worldwide. You'll hear of CIA operations going on overseas and abroad. So, and so there's just been, so when JFK got killed, there was a lot of speculation. Oh my gosh, did CIA have something to do with this? Were they trying to snuff him because he was trying to get rid of this? JFK was the one that got rid of the mob, and whatever. So anyway, so Robert F. Kennedy, which is a nephew of JFK,
Okay.
He's a Democrat, and he is now challenging Joe Biden on the Democratic ticket for the 2024 election. But he comes with a little bit of controversy. During the pandemic, he was outspoken about the freedoms that he felt were being taken away from us. He said they're, basically this vaccine has not been tried, it hasn't been proven, da 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 da. So he was just talking about how he just didn't feel like this pandemic was worth losing all of the civil liberties that we were seeing happen on a worldwide scale. So he's very outspoken about that, and got a lot of flack, especially from within his own party. Well, he went to his first public appearance as a candidate of the president running for president was at the Bitcoin Miami at Bitcoin 2023. It was a crypto event. And let's see. And it says Kennedy's keynote opened with an explanation of how he became interested in Bitcoin, saying it was Canada's decision to clamp down on truck drivers protesting COVID-19 restrictions by freezing bank accounts that drove him his understanding of Bitcoin's value. When I witnessed this cataclysm, this devastating use of government repression, I realized for the first time how free money is as important to freedom as free expression, Kennedy said. He says the candidate, who has been outspoken critic of vaccine mandates, said supporting Bitcoin is both an exercise and guarantee of civil liberties he's committed to protecting, pledging to protect crypto's top coin. Bitcoin is a bulwark against precisely this kind of government and corporate expansion and intrusion, Kennedy said, referencing how the truckers were treated. As president, I will make sure your right to hold and use Bitcoin is inviolable. Contrasting his stance with the current U.S. president, he pointed to Biden's proposed 30% excise tax on cryptocurrency miners, claiming It requires an invasive surveillance apparatus to monitor what is happening in individual computers and sets a bad precedent. So basically, if you're a crypto miner, the government wants to tap into your computer and see everything you're doing so that you can pay 30% tax on mining. And you know that once you give them an inch, they take
5 inches.
They take a mile. They take a mile.
Or that, yeah.
So anyway, so that's what Kennedy is going for, and then also in further support of Bitcoin, one of the biggest Bitcoin that we have probably in Congress is she's a Republican out of Wyoming. Her name is Cynthia Loomis. She returned again to the Bitcoin conference stage for a fireside chat with Chamber of Digital Commerce's founder and CEO, Perianne Boring, about the U.S. legislative landscape surrounding Bitcoin. She says Bitcoin is something that is just so consistent with American values that we need to make sure it's protected, nurtured, and allowed to innovate here in the United States. And so anyway, so that's what we're looking at in Washington is we are seeing support on both sides of the aisle for Bitcoin. And of course, this comes at a time when the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, the Fed, they're talking about introducing CBDCs, which is programmable, controllable money, and very dangerous and very like the opposite of what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is like digital cash, and it can never be shut down. It can never be taken away. It can never be, like it's better than cash, I would say.
I think
It's something that the Fed can't abuse by printing more, right? Bitcoin, there's only 21 million of them. They're not making any more. The Fed can't just go on this endless printing spree. So
exactly. I think this would be one of the biggest things that would definitely bring people from both ends or whatever ends, right, to really come to the middle and say this is going to benefit everybody at this point. Because, of course, everybody needs to make a living in regards to getting paid for whatever it is that they're doing. But do you want the government to tap in and have full control of the money that you have and worked hard for, and just it could be vaporized like that in the snap of a finger and see what you're spending it on? And if you cross whatever line, hey, we're going to freeze your accounts like they were doing to those truck drivers in Canada. They went the alternate route. Went with Bitcoin. You can't touch it. It's our money. F you, pretty much. I think it's awesome. I think if this is coming from both ends to where we can come to the middle ground to where if this is for the people, yes, we should be on this. I mean, I'm all for it. Me personally, I'm all for it. I think ever since I started understanding more of the idea of it, I'm all for it. I mean, for me, I'm all in. I mean, I would definitely want to move that route to where if it's like all digital cash that I can control, nobody else, what's there to complain?
What I find interesting though about Kennedy's example of using the Canadian truckers, it's happening in America. We have seen PayPal, we've seen all kinds of GoFundMe. If they have literally shut down accounts of conservatives fighting for conservative beliefs or conservative causes, and just because they were conservative causes, GoFundMe and PayPal, they've shut those sites down. And it's just, if we had Bitcoin, you couldn't shut that stuff down. Yeah. And and that's probably this climate that we're living in, where there has been this little taste of totalitarianism going on lately that I've noticed going on for a few years, mainly by the left, on their attack on conservatives. And so it's almost like if you introduce this thing that can't be shut down, there's absolutely no way that they would vote for it, which is funny because you better be careful what you wish for, because things can change. Something could change in our culture that all of a sudden exposes the evil of these totalitarian things that are going on, to where it could easily slide the other way, and we could be the ones shutting off everything that they do using the same exact weapons. So you use Bitcoin, you make it free, or you make it, where you can't shut it down, you make it just freely available, can't be shut down, then it forces you as a society to figure out, okay, I don't like what he's saying, I don't like what she's saying. You have to figure it out at that point, because that person's not going to run out of money, and if they have better ideas than you, then now the onus is on you to come up with a better argument to go against that. But your practice can't be, oh, we just got to shut him down.
Yeah.
If more people agree with that person, it's for a reason. It's probably for a good reason.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to prove that reason wrong.
Yeah, man. No, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, I just look at it as plain and simple. They want full control. They hate the fact that they have something now that's popped up they have no control over, and it's for the people, by the people type stuff, right? So they just can't get over the fact that they need to build something that's going to be competitive, but at the same time, we want full reign of what's going on here, and that's that, But
right.
I'm a full against that. Like I said, if someone's going to be in charge of my money or my hard earning, money in general, it's gonna be me, nobody else. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all for it. Interesting. Yep. So another Kennedy trying to go on I would say he's trying to do something that would benefit us all.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a huge Bitcoin. So the reason I got into crypto was because I was so sick and tired of the intrusion of the federal government coming into our financial lives, having to report anything over $600 that you're making on Venmo and whatnot. And then, we're sending, we don't even know where $2.1 trillion went in Pentagon audits, and but they're going to hire 87,000 tax agents to track us, our $600 transaction on Venmo.
Make it make sense.
You gotta be kidding me.
Make it make sense to me. That's the thing that infuriates me to the core. Like, you're worried about Eduardo and Brett's $600 off whatever, right? But for you, all right, well, like you said, tell me where those 200 billies went. Call it fair.
Yeah.
Huh? What?
Yep. I mean, let's do another audit. Let's do another audit, because I'm sure we can find more. Then, I saw this other interesting article today. They were putting two articles together. Mm-hmm. They, basically showing the contrast of behavior and beliefs in Washington. But they were talking about, they said, an tax, what is it? Accountability, an accounting error led to $3 more billion being available to send to Ukraine. And then the other article said, kids are unable to focus at school anymore because they're all hungry. So you're like, oh, okay, so they're poor, right? They're poor. They're going hungry. Man. But we're sending all of that. I mean, it reminds me of that Tupac song. We got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. I mean, it all goes down to this War Incorporated thing that we have going on. And I mean, it's these neocons, these warmongers in DC that are sending our children out there and willing to throw them out there, but then not taking care of them when they come back. For one, we are seeing so many veterans right now. This is hitting the story. All these immigrants are flooding our gates, and they're all coming in, and they're literally kicking veterans, war veterans, people that have fought for this country. They're kicking them out of hotels because the government is paying these hotels more to house illegal immigrants. And the hotels, money talks, right? So now these veterans are now getting kicked to the street. They're homeless, they're freaking out, they're crying, they're devastated, and we should all be devastated over this. This is like one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my life. This is definitely the worst era. I did not know America could be so vile and so sinister. I never thought I would witness this, and I ask myself every day, like, are you doing enough? You're witnessing the highest level of evil you've ever seen in your own country, and you've seen so many history books of what the Germans did to the Jews, and you know, and no one, and you're always said, why didn't anyone protect the Jews? Why didn't never anyone do that? And where would I be in that? Would I be, you know, quiet? So that's what, you know, and that's part of why I use this platform to say what I think, because, you know, at least we're communicating in ways and letting other people know that, hey, we don't all agree with this stuff. And if they're going to get to the point where they're going to start rounding us up, so be it. At least you know where I'm at, and at least it's publicly acknowledged, or it's publicly put out there, so that I'm there. Just take me. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not going to sit silent watching this evilness occur, watching people who fought for our country get kicked to the street just as someone who is illegal, and just because they want a better life. Now we're going to kick this guy out and give him a worse life for fighting and you know, giving all of his sacrifices for this country. It make sense, right?
Yeah, it does. That's what I'm saying. If you're giving up your life for other people's lives, there's no way. There's no way you can top that. There's no way to protect and serve and defend freedom. Right? Like I wouldn't even look at it. It wouldn't be any type of debate at that point. You know what I'm saying? They should come first on the list. My personal opinion too. So have it what you may. So yeah. Amen, brother. Amen. I mean, we'll see where this goes. I mean, this election it's just right around the corner. So we'll see, man. I just want some change. Dude, honestly, it's like at this point, things have been rocky as AF, man. So we'll see where it goes, brother. And we'll definitely, and of course, you'll hear more from it from the dynamic duo here from the Lily podcast. But I'm loving it. But other than that, brother, I mean, do you want to land this puppy down? Do you want to land it down here at the airport?
Land it down? Like what? Tell people where to go?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rude to me. Rude to me. Where can they find us? Where can they find us?
I'm two Stellas into it. Well, for all you lovely listeners that check out the Beyond Expectation and want to check out more episodes, past, previous, and future, you can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Google Play. And also, don't forget to check out our Instagram page where you can check out our posts, like make comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz. We love it. The interaction helps with us get past the algorithms and defeat that, makes us rise in status. So you are a big help with that. So any type of like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, all that fun stuff you can do, that greatly helps us, because it gets us out there for more people who are like-minded, just like you, just like me, just like my boy. And greatly appreciate it. Would love it if you could do that.
That was a flow. I would take that as a rap. See, straight off the top. That's how his lyrics are too. I tell him he's a lyrical assassin, man. He drops bars randomly. Chef's kiss, like they say.
Oh, did you ever listen to Atmosphere?
Atmosphere? No, I don't know. That's not familiar.
Okay, so I think one of their biggest songs is called the Best Day. And he's just, you got to listen to it. But anyway, okay. I've been on an Atmosphere whatever train lately. I've just been listening to everything because I just love their music. They were an underground hip hop group. I want to say out of Milwaukee.
Okay.
But you know, I just love like their content. I love all their stuff. And then even as they've gotten older, they're still making stuff that even I'm liking as I'm getting older. It's amazing. So I've been just on this full Atmosphere tirade.
Okay.
But listen to Best Day. It's like their best song. But even the other day we were listening to a song called Okay, and I had Izzy, my 5-year-old in the back, and she was just jabbing. I'm just like, I've had enough of little baby talk. Hey, will you listen to a song with me, baby? And so I put on Atmosphere. And she was bobbing her head. She was digging it.
Okay. Nice. All right. I'll have to check it out. I'll take your word and check it out. But with that being said, folks, like my boy said, catch us wherever you listen to your podcast.
Okay. Because you're used to being the one that says all this.
I know. I'm trying to
put it on me, and I'm like, I don't know. What do I do? What do I do with my hands?
What do I do with my hands?
Just talk.
So hopefully you have a fantastic and phenomenal Friday leading into the weekend. Stay safe out there. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care. We love you. Till then, peace, baby.